Today in Nerd History!
Let's talk about cartoons and toys.
Hey, Julia.
Oh, hey, Tony. Nice to see you. How do you like the new set?
Oh, I love it. It's really good to know that the show's in good hands. And I am feeling so good about not being part of this show. I'm not a little bit mad. I'm so not mad. I'm not mad.
Okay. Thanks, Tony.
Okay, good luck, and don't touch any of my stuff.
Too late. I touched all of it. All right, now let's talk about cartoons and toys. We all know the heavy hitters like Transformers, G.I. Joe, and He-Man, but here are 5 awesome and slightly weird cartoon toys you may have forgotten about. Number 5, Dino Riders. Tyco's Dino Riders combine 2 things little kids love: dinosaurs and extreme violence. The toy line debuted in 1988 and featured scientifically accurate thunder lizards that came with their own humanoid riders, removable armor and weapons, and best of all, these bad boys were motorized. I'm pretty sure they ran on car batteries, but still, they were pretty cool. The toys launched alongside a Dino Rider comic book from Marvel, and naturally an animated series. The cartoon aired as part of the Marvel Action Universe, a block of syndicated shows including the 1981 Spider-Man cartoon, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, and a RoboCop cartoon adaptation. Yeah, remember that thing I said about the violence? 80s kids were just built different. The Dino Riders cartoon was centered around the constant battle between the peaceful Valorians and the evil Rulons. After a little time-traveling snafu, both groups found themselves on prehistoric Earth, surrounded by dinosaurs. The evil Rulons quickly enslaved the dinosaurs to do their bidding, and strapped a bunch of weapons way too close to their little dino faces, while the peaceful Valorians befriended the dinosaurs and strapped a bunch of weapons way too close to their dino faces. And while Tyco wanted the toys to be scientifically accurate, they didn't really give a shit about them being historically accurate. They had T-Rexes hanging out with the Dimetrodons. I mean, come on guys. I'm on board for the intergalactic time traveling, but let's keep it a little more grounded here, okay? The show attempted to switch gears in season 2 by sending them to the Ice Age, but for some reason a giant sloth just isn't as cool as a T-Rex with a laser gun helmet. While Dino Riders only lasted 14 episodes, Disney did buy out the Fox Kids Worldwide Library in 2001, so a Disney Plus reboot isn't out of the question. Just be sure to watch it right away though before it gets canceled and erased from existence. So long, Willow. You were too pure for this world. Number 4, creepy crawlers. While 80s kids loved dinosaurs and violence, 60s kids loved toxic chemicals and second-degree burns. The 1994 Creepy Crawlers cartoon was based on an activity kit from the 1960s called The Thingmaker. The US was in the middle of the space race, and there was a huge focus on science and technology, so science experiments disguised as toys were super popular at the time. Stupid kids were learning and they didn't even know it. The original Thingmaker was basically a 400-degree open hot plate that little kids would use to heat up a mystery toxin called Plastigoop. The kids would pour the goop into molds and heat them until they gave up fun and totally not dangerous vapors, creating their very own rubbery bug things. For some reason it got discontinued. If I had to guess, I bet it had something to do with kids melting their fingerprints off while huffing toxic fumes. The playset was reintroduced in 1992 by Toymax. Rather than a hot plate and a trip to the emergency room, this new version was basically an easy bake oven that would heat the goop to a reasonable, non-life altering temperature. And then presto, you're ready to make your dad crap his pants. Saban was behind the animated series created for the toy, which was centered on an everyday kid named Chris Carter, who worked for a totally normal magician named Professor Guggengrime. One night, during one of those once-in-a-millennia planetary alignments, just like in Thor, The Dark World, Chris makes a magical device that can create mutant insect-like creatures known as, you guessed it, the Creepy Crawlers. Chris creates some new friends and seemingly names them after energy drinks: Volt Jolt, T3, and Hocus Locust. Then Professor Guggengrime steals the magical device to make his own bizarre creatures. Also like in Thor the Dark... Wait, no, never mind. The Creepy Crawler relaunch got off to a strong start in the early 90s, but it turned out to be short-lived. Even cross-promotional efforts involving another Saban-produced show, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, was unable to revive interest in the goopy insectoids. By 1996, the Crawlers retreated back into the shadows. But hey, the show lasted 23 episodes. That's not too bad for a cartoon based off a die-cast molding set. Number 3, Jem and the Holograms. Take 1 part Barbie, 2 parts glam rock, and a sprinkle of cocaine backstage at a Motley Crue concert, and you've got Jem and the Holograms. Created by Transformers and G.I. Joe alum Christy Marks, the series played on themes of women's empowerment and also women becoming more involved in the workplace. But the big selling point was its connection to hair metal, glam rock, and the kind of music kids were listening to on this new upstart network called MTV. MTV just doesn't play music videos anymore. Right, kids? You don't care. The animated series was about Jerrica Benton. She owned her own record label, Starlight Music, by day, but by night, with the help of Synergy, a holographic computer, and some high-tech earrings, Jerrica transformed herself into Gem, the rock goddess lead singer of the band The Holograms. You know, I was joking about the cocaine stuff earlier, but come on, look at this car. Each episode of Gem included 3 fully produced songs, some of which had their own dedicated music videos. In total, the Gem series features 151 unique songs with 187 music videos, all written by the same woman, Anne Bryant. As well, each $10 to $15 Gem doll came with a cassette featuring the show's theme song, Truly Outrageous, along with 2 other songs performed by either the Holograms or the Misfits, not the New Jersey horror punk Misfits. I don't even know what the equivalent of getting a cassette tape with each toy would be today, like getting a QR code to a Spotify playlist or something. That's not as fun. In the year 1987 alone, Hasbro sold around 3 million Gem dolls, and considering that copies of the cassette tape were sold along with each doll, this technically made the song Truly Outrageous a triple platinum hit. Many of you are probably singing it to yourselves right now, and I can't blame you. It's truly, truly, truly outrageous. 65 episodes of Gem were produced between 1985 and 1988. Nonetheless, the doll was only a hot seller during those few years. Still, the legacy of Gem has clearly lived on. The classic dolls and new collectibles remain wildly popular among fans, and Hasbro even teamed with Blumhouse in 2015 on a big screen movie reboot. Sure, it only made $2 million in theaters, but come on, it's a movie based on a 30-year-old cartoon about hologram earrings. Gotta grade these things on a curve. Number 2, Toxic Crusaders. Remember Troma's Toxic Avenger films? They were full of campy sex jokes and outrageous gory schlock violence. Turns out, they weren't very kid-friendly at all. Still, that didn't stop the Troma co-founders Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Hertz from morphing the films into a kid-friendly franchise in the early 90s. Hey, it worked for RoboCop, kinda. The animated series featured a softer version of Toxie. He had a sentient mop named Mop, and he was in charge of a group of misfit superheroes named, you guessed it, the Toxic Crusaders. They're gross, but they still get girls, as the tagline so eloquently put it. As with Captain Planet and the Planeteers, and the 1991 Swamp Thing cartoon, the Toxic Crusaders series capitalized on the planet-friendly environmentalist trend among early 90s kids franchises. Thank goodness we got those kids inspired and they grew up to solve climate change. Right, gang? Marvel Comics released an 8-issue series based on the character. Issue number 8 holds the distinct honor of being the only comic book ever released to feature both a man defecating on the toilet and the approved by the Comic Code Authority stamp. That part has nothing to do with the cartoon or toys. I just wanted to show you the pooping guy. Playmates, the same company that produced the classic 90s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures, also made a line of very similar looking Toxic Crusader toys in 1991. They had bright neon colors and came with glow-in-the-dark accessories. Many of them also came with canisters of slime called Toxie's Toxic Waste, which was pretty much identical to the Turtles' Retromutagen ooze. Those sly devils, they just repacked the same ooze! Other tie-ins included trading cards from Topps, a board game, a card game, and video games for Nintendo, Game Boy, and Sega Genesis. There's even a new Toxic Crusaders game, which looks a lot like the Turtles' new game, Shredder's Revenge. Okay, Toxic Crusaders, we get it. You like the Turtles style. All in all, 13 episodes and a pretty sweet toy line isn't too bad for a hero who literally rips out the Meyers' intestines at the end of his debut movie. Seriously, that's how the Toxic Avenger ends. He says he wants to see if the mayor has any guts, and then he sees his guts. Let's just hope they keep that line in there for the new Peter Dinklage remake. Number 1, Sectors. We've all been there. You're playing with your toys and you think, if only I could control this toy through its butt. No? Don't judge me. Well, say hello to Sectors, Warriors of Symbion. The toy line got its start when co-creator Tim Clark got lazy one Halloween and didn't want to put on a full costume, so he made this little flag glove. See what I'm talking about with the hand and the butt? They eventually teamed up with Coleco for the toys, Ruby Spears for the cartoon, and like almost everything else on this list, Marvel for the comics. The animated series was only 5 episodes, but it was jam-packed with more sci-fi fantasy names than you could shake a stick at. Prince Dargon, Stellara, General Spydrax, Commander Waspax, and Frank Delabonte Jr. I'm not 100% sure on the last guy. He might be Senior. Delabonte Sr. Action figures were created for Dargon, General Spydrax, and the rest of the Bug-Eyed Gang, as well as a playset the size of a washing machine. But the coolest thing about the Sectors were the mutant and sectoid beasts that were actually puppets. Coleco sometimes referred to the line as the world's first hands-in action figures, which for some crazy reason didn't catch on. Fascinatingly, the puppet designs meant that the characters canonically lacked butts, 'cause that's where the hand goes. So when the characters were featured in the Marvel comics, it was always from a 3/4 perspective, or with their hindquarters obscured from view. I guess they didn't want to draw on a kid's arm stretching across each page. Despite all of this considerable effort and world building, the Sectors were not long for this world. Ruby Spears never created any additional episodes beyond that original order of 5, and Coleco eventually went bankrupt. And as for Marvel, to this day, nobody knows what happened to them.
Oh, Julia, very important. I left a can of LaCroix in the office about 4 years ago. Is that still kicking around?
We're actually in a different office, but I brought this one though, if that helps.
What flavor?
Hocus Locus.
Oh, yeah, yes, please.
Great.
That's not gonna ship. That's not gonna arrive here. Julia, the Postmaster General is gonna put you in jail!
Hey, thanks for watching. If you don't mind, hit that like and subscribe button and check out the Dorkly Patreon. It helps keep this whole channel running. We've got early access, ad-free uncensored videos, Patreon exclusive videos, you can get roasted by Sonic, there's merch discounts, Discord access, and a bunch more. So, alright, I'm gonna go watch that RoboCop cartoon.